Caloroga Shark Media.
They are coming for Jerry Seinfeld. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Pretty much ripped up the plan for today. The first half will be single topic. You can hear my change my delivery a little bit. I've dropped down. I'm not doing the hyper. Hey, Johnny Mac, we're just gonna talk here. They're coming for Jerry. A headline I saw on Yahoo sourcing the Daily Beast, but the Daily Beast had a different article. But this one I saw on Yahoo. The headline: Jerry Seinfeld's 17-year-old girlfriend saga resurfaces after Duke walkout. I'm not surprised, given that many headlines this week featured both the words Stern and Seinfeld. And, back in the day, Howard was quite vocal about Jerry's dating history and not so much in recent history. I discussed that and I wrote about it in the Substack, so you can hear my previous thoughts on that. From the Yahoo piece, Jerry Seinfeld's problematic relationship with a high schooler, when he was well into his 30s, has been grossing out a new generation this week, just after Duke students staged a walkout in protest of his commencement speech. Yeah, I remember back in the day, and let's see, 1994. So 1994, I'm 25, and I thought it was weird in 1994. I've been amazed these last 30 years that everybody was like, oh, yeah, whatever. We love Jerry. Seinfeld's a great show. But this story seems to be back now. Daily Beast/Yahoo writes, a quick X search will bring up numerous tweets that reference Seinfeld's teenage girlfriend from the 1990s, who he picked up in Central Park when she was still a senior at the private Nightingale Bamford School in Manhattan, according to People's cover story about the pair at the time. She was 17, he was 38. According to People, in March 1994, sources told the magazine that the young lady's family approved of the match as Seinfeld whisked her around the country to watch him perform and even meet his mother. The young lady told People, I'd like my life to be normal and just go about being a student. Jerry said at the time, Shoshana is a person, not an age. At the time, Seinfeld's friend George Wallace said, I think it's serious between them. She's beautiful and mature. She's good for him. Yahoo Daily Beast writes, as this type of normalizing media coverage continued for Seinfeld, Howard Stern was one of the first public figures to call the comedian out for his romantic interest in a minor. That's what I was curious about this week. When Jerry took a shot at Howard, I was curious to see if Howard would go rabid and bring this back up. Howard did not, but others have. Stern sang a parody song about Seinfeld's relationship at the Miss Howard Stern New Year's Eve pageant in 1993, where Stern crooned, quote, Seinfeld's girl is 17, an innocent with double Ds. He saw those breasts and flipped his lid for a real young, busty high school kid. Again, we're talking about multiple topics here. Don't forget, Howard Stern, the great interviewer. Never mind that he had Miss Howard Stern New Year's Eve pageant in 1993. He is the great interviewer, but I digress. Per Yahoo/The Beast, he also called Seinfeld a horny, lonely TV geek and the young woman jailbait in the song. Elsewhere, the lyrics asked, can't he find girls his age to date? At first, Seinfeld denied knowing the young woman's real age when confronted about the relationship during an interview with Howard Stern the following year. But on Stern's show a month later, he said, I didn't realize she was so young. This article says the relationship continued nonetheless. A few years later, in a Vanity Fair profile timed to the finale of Seinfeld, Jerry revealed that he almost got married to his much younger girlfriend. I know everyone looked at this relationship as here's this rich TV guy and here's this young hot girl, but it wasn't like that at all. We were very much in love, but the timing wasn't quite right. That same year, Jerry met his current wife, Jessica. Those two married in December 1999. Jerry was 45, Jessica was 28. Another sidebar here from Wikipedia. In June 1998, Jessica married Eric Niederlander, a theatrical producer, etc., etc. So that's June 1998. In early August, after the wedding and a honeymoon in Italy, she met Jerry Seinfeld. Niederlander filed for divorce in October 1998 after only 4 months of marriage. Interesting. Now, the Daily Beast proper, the Daily Beast website, in an opinion piece by Seth Simons, Seth went all in. Everything that hasn't been said, Seth Simons has said. Seth writes, one would be forgiven for wondering what world Jerry Seinfeld is living in, where the extreme left, as he claimed in a recent interview with The New Yorker, has purged American television of good comedy. For all the left's mighty powers, it couldn't quite manage to halt production of Abbott Elementary, Superstore, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, or The Good Place. Nor did it manage to stave off dark, even transgressive cable fare like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, The Righteous Gemstones, Atlanta, or Pen 15. The Democratic Socialists of America certainly didn't stop Seinfeld's erstwhile collaborators Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Larry David from making Veep and Curb Your Enthusiasm. Seinfeld, whose net worth recently passed $1 billion, has long fashioned himself an apolitical comedian. But of course, he's far from an apolitical figure. Reading from the Daily Beast here, a longtime donor to Democratic candidates and causes. He's also been a full-throated supporter of the far-right state of Israel, not so much in the abstract sense of celebrities who wax poetically about Israel's right to exist, than in the concrete, enthusiastic sense of a man who once took his family to an IDF fantasy camp in the West Bank. There, he participated in shooting training with displays of combat, according to the camp, and posed playfully with the same soldiers in Seth Simon's opinion piece. He writes, "It seems only natural that as public opinion turns against Israel, so too should it sour on Seinfeld." Last month, his wife Jessica contributed at least $5,000 to a pro-Israel counter-protest at UCLA. She later claimed the funds went toward a peaceful demonstration, not the violent mob that attacked a pro-Palestinian encampment. Last Sunday at the Duke thing, Jerry said it's worth the sacrifice of occasional discomfort to have some laughs. Seth Simons writes, "What exactly does Seinfeld know about discomfort? His creative output, since ending his eponymous sitcom 26 years ago this week, has consisted chiefly of the animated B-movie." By the way, I only realized this week that B-movie was a pun on B-movies. I just was like, oh, it's a movie about bees. I never got the joke, Jerry. Sorry, maybe it's me. A TV series in which he drives luxury automobiles with his friends, a short-lived reality show called The Marriage Ref, various sitcom appearances as himself, a Netflix special in which he complained about texting, and Unfrosted, now in the opinion piece in the Daily Beast by Seth Simons, and I've shared this in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast group. Seth writes, "Comedians, especially very famous comedians, can do pretty much anything and come away with their reputations intact." Now we're going to get a little wider here. Louis C.K. has released 4 specials since confessing to sexual misconduct in 2017, one of which won a Grammy Award. Jeff Ross, accused of grooming a teenage girl in a virtually forgotten 2020 New York Magazine expose, just featured prominently in Netflix's Roast of Tom Brady. Seinfeld himself had a relationship with a 17-year-old girl when he was a 38-year-old TV star. If that didn't affect his legacy, why would anything else? Jeff Ross floated through the controversy largely thanks to an LA comedy scene unbothered by inappropriate sexual relationships, perhaps because it was built on them, and less than a year later he was sharing a stage with Dave Chappelle. Seth writes, "Do you remember the 2021 child sex abuse lawsuit against SNL cast member Horatio Sands that implicated Lorne Michaels, Jimmy Fallon, Tracy Morgan, Tina Fey, and Seth Meyers? That's okay. Neither does anyone else. Comedians protect comedians. The industry operates as a social club with a code of silence so strong you'd think it must be a police force." This is some piece here. Normally on a Thursday, I would record Friday and Saturday back to back. Sometimes I'll do Friday and Sunday in case I think there's going to be news. I'm not recording the weekend yet. I feel like this could bubble up a little bit. Seth continues, "Whether you're an open mic comic, a podcaster, a headliner, or a TV star, comedy is essentially a business of favors. You put me on your show, I'll put you on my show." And he brought up something I recently observed. Amy Schumer starred in Unfrosted after hiring Seinfeld's daughter Sasha to write on the latest season of Inside Amy Schumer, and then later on Life and Beth. Washington Post headline, "Jerry Seinfeld's media tour could have been a plot on Seinfeld. The comedian wanted to put his Netflix movie Unfrosted in the spotlight. He ended up there instead." This is our third Jerry Seinfeld article today. The critics weighed in, the protesters weighed in, the whole of social media weighed in, but this is Jerry Seinfeld. Those mines he stepped on exploded only with strawberry filling. Seinfeld has sworn he has no interest in making another film or even recording another stand-up special. He just wants to tour, to do comedy, to continue making people slightly uncomfortable, and therefore continue being slightly uncomfortable himself. Whatever he's doing works for him, so why would he change? Maybe he'll pull a Titleist out of a blowhole once in a while, but he doesn't need to. As he told Duke's graduating class, "I'm 70. I'm done." The Telegraph headline, "Why the world stop laughing at tone-deaf rich guy Jerry Seinfeld. The billionaire king of comedy has been booed, called out of touch, and accused of making the worst Netflix movie ever. But does he care? Had this been an isolated incident, it would have been easy to dismiss as little more than a piece of performative rudeness orchestrated by a gang of attention-seeking rabble-rousers." Those are the Duke students. In any case, he could hardly have been surprised by the reaction, given that, as far back as 2015, Seinfeld had advised his fellow comics not to perform at university campuses. Seinfeld claims to value the cut and thrust of being on stage in front of audiences who treat him the same way as any other performer, but no other performers in such venues have the luxuries of private jets, multiple expensive residences all over the world, complete, if the rumors are accurate, with a $17,000 coffee maker. That's when you know they're coming for Jerry. When they start to drag up that stuff. Look at him. He's got a $17,000 coffee maker. I don't know what happened when the sun came up on Thursday morning, but the universe said, "Jerry, we're coming for you." If the rumors are accurate, with a $17,000 coffee maker and well-paid PR staff on hand to flatter his considerable ego at all times. I met Jerry once. He was a guest on Jim Breuer's radio show way back in the day when I worked at Sirius. Jerry was what you'd expect. Walked in, be like, hey, how you doing? Like, not looking to be your friend, not being a jerk, didn't demand anything, didn't want to hang out with you, didn't want to not hang out with you. It was just exactly what you'd think. Aloof Jerry Seinfeld. All right, where are we going? Go in the studio. All right, we're doing this. And you record the show. And, all right, thanks, everybody. And he leaves. That was my one experience with Jerry Seinfeld. Telegraph wrapped up with, dare one ask whether the angry mob at Duke should have been complaining less about Seinfeld's political stances and more about how he seems to have forgotten the art of being funny. Wow. Many things could be true at once. Is Jerry Seinfeld funny? Yes. Is Jerry Seinfeld, quote, still funny? Sure. Absolutely. Was Unfrosted funny? I thought it was fantastic. Did a 38-year-old man hang around with a 17-year-old girl? Seems to be a lot of evidence. So, I don't know. The world has come for Jerry. Should be interesting. Let's take this break. Woo. Bill Burr is in Nashville tonight. He spoke to Nashville Scene. Bill said, I love going to the South, and I deliberately act like I don't understand you guys. If I go to red state, I make fun of red state stuff. I'm not just going to tell them what they want to hear. And if I go to blue states, I make fun of Hillary and all that kind of stuff. I think the South gets a really bad rap. White people like to act like all the racist white people are just in the South. It's been my experience that they're everywhere. It's kind of like how people like to act like all the pedophiles are in Hollywood. It's like, you don't remember To Catch a Predator? They did a bunch of seasons on that show. They never had to go to Hollywood to find one. That's a funny line. Since he's a comedian, he was asked about cancel culture. It was almost like a political campaign, like say no to drugs or leave no child behind. It was this thing. It wasn't even liberals. It was extreme liberals, which are no different than the religious nuts that are way on the right. It really got out of control, and it died under its own weight because you couldn't get enough people behind it. And now what's funny is the people that were doing it are now trying to walk away from it and trying to say, nobody got canceled, it wasn't that bad, which is classic toxic behavior. You do it, and then years later, you get called on it, you act like it never happened. My job is to make people laugh their ass off, and I think I'm really good at it. I also feel like I'm just starting to hit my stride and I have a lot left in the tank. Awful news for me. Netflix has confirmed that Adam Sandler will be returning as Happy Gilmore. They tweeted, Happy Gilmore's back! ! Adam Sandler will reprise his iconic role in a brand new movie coming to Netflix. Sandler then said in a video shared by the PGA Tour, it's been 25 years since I've done this, meaning played golf. Let's see what happens. I'm scared. Shooter McGavin, this is for you. That's just awful news. And better news, Mac Packer Andy Samberg is working on something called The Robots Go Crazy. This for Amazon MGM Studios. Deadline reports the studio has snapped up the film, which it describes as a hot package. It's a little naughty sounding, isn't it? So what's happening in this hot package? Well, Collider says plot details are being kept under wraps. Yeah, you don't want anyone to know what happens in The Robots Go Crazy. Collider says it is known that it's an action comedy. Presumably, the film's plot will involve robots who will then go crazy. No other details available. I am exhausted. Sydney Comedy Festival is 2 days left. Let's see if I can find a clip or something. I can't find any clips, but Ruben Solo must be doing well because they've added another show to his program called Please Clap. The Barefoot Review said 4.5 stars, a unique style all his own. The Scotsman, 4 stars, gleefully daft nonsense. I enjoy some daft nonsense. Ooh, Nikki Osborne. She does have a clip. I take it back. Let's listen. I have played the clip in advance. This is a little naughty, and I've edited it for pacing. A little naughty, but it's a good joke. Let's listen.
Do you know how you tell if your husband's been watching porn? You get him a Fitbit. Because it measures the pendulum. That way, if he ducks off to the bathroom, comes out 6,000 steps later, you know you got the night off.
Capital FM Drive Time gave her 5 stars. Said funniest stand-up I've seen. The Upside News, also 5 stars. Funny and heartfelt. Osborne tells it like it is. And that is your comedy news for today. All right, let's see what happens with Jerry tomorrow. I can tell you already, tomorrow's podcast is pretty good, even if nothing happens with Jerry, just because of the amount of stuff I bumped from today to Saturday. So you don't want to miss Saturday's podcast. There's a Tim Dillon thing, a Bobby Kelly thing about the Tom Brady roast. A lot got bumped. It's all good tomorrow. All right, see you then.